Welcome to LUTV on Fox. I'm Dr. Kenneth Evans, President of Lamar University. Today I hope to introduce myself to more of you in Southeast Texas, talk about my path that brought me here, and share my vision for the future of Lamar University. LUTV on Fox starts now.
Hello, I'm Larry Elliot, an associate professor in the Department of Communication at Lamar University for 17 years, recently retired, and I was asked to interview Dr. Kenneth Evans, the new president at Lamar University. So he's going to introduce himself to us and answer some of the things we might want to know about him.
Who is Kenneth Evans? Well, I'm a product of parents who did not get college degrees, father who managed, because of World War II and the training he received, to pursue a career in electrical engineering. Moved across the country. I'm born in Pittsburgh, lived in Chicago, San Fernando Valley, around Los Angeles, Northern California, Colorado, Arizona, Missouri, Oklahoma, and here. So I'm a product of the United States, actually. A marvelous wife and two exceptional sons who we take great pride in. I think that characterizes who I am, certainly as a family man and as a function of what's happened to me as I've grown up. Well, Nancy and I met as freshmen at University of California, Davis. We've known each other a long time. She is the artistic side of our relationship. She's the artist. She's the master gardener, the quilter. She was an art docent. Her repertoire of experiences in that space I find quite awe-inspiring, frankly. There are many things I'd love to be able to do that she's able to do. And she helps me see the campus in a much broader context than I would see it from the perspectives that I have in my background. The older son is a corporate litigator in New York. His wife is a modern dancer, and that's what took him to New York City. The younger son is received his undergraduate degree at a school called the Berklee College of Music in Boston, toured as a professional musician for a period of time, and is now soon to be in the master's degree program in electrical engineering at the University of New Mexico. Well, my dad was an engineer. He was very handy with his hands, so I learned all kind of mechanical skills, woodworking skills, which ended up serving me well later in life. I was mathematically facile, so I ended up with a strong interest in science and mathematics. Ironically, I ended up with a degree in English and political science as an undergraduate, but I ended up teaching statistics when I went on for my MBA program and took a real strong interest in the quantitative side of marketing, which is where I got my PhD. Well, even before the corporate world, actually, I was in the construction business when I first graduated from my undergraduate program. And it was from that I honed a lot of skills that I frankly ended up appreciating later on when I was remodeling houses, and we were buying homes that frankly were probably not in the best of shape and finding ways to make them livable. When I got my degree from my master's program, I then went on and did work in the sales and marketing area for a period of time. Arizona State was my first position. It's an interesting school. At the time I was there were 33,000 students at Arizona State. 18,000 of them were in the College of Business. It's a very odd portfolio for a campus to have that large of a single college being that dominant. From there, I went to the University of Missouri, where I served as department chair in marketing and associate deans of both undergraduate and graduate studies. I did an interim stint as dean of the College of Business, and then was encouraged to take a look at an opportunity at the University of Oklahoma's Michael F. Price College of Business, where I served for 6.5 years, and then was approached about the opportunity here at Lamar and found it intriguing, and here I am. Next on LUTV on Fox, I'll talk about my first impressions of Lamar and what I was feeling as I was sitting on the stage at my investiture as Lamar's president in November. You're watching LUTV on Fox, the show that brings the best of Lamar University to you. We'll be back.
You know, some people say that it's hard for Lamar University to grow the student body, although it has grown quite a bit in the recent years. And one of his visions for the future was to see Lamar increase the enrollment by several thousand students, which I think is very impressive. Some people say that because the area that Beaumont is in sort of faces the ocean, that our area where we draw students from is only half as large as a lot of universities this size would be. But he has definite plans and desires to increase the enrollment, and I think that will be better for Lamar and better for Southeast Texas.
Well, Lamar is a very rich mosaic of diversity, which I greatly appreciate. It has had a strong mission in Southeast Texas. Clearly it resonates with the oil and gas industry, which is a background that I had at the University of Oklahoma. It is a series of programs principally targeted at undergraduate education, although we certainly do have a strong graduate play here. I found the students to be just incredibly appealing. The opportunities I had on campus to interact with them, I thought we had a rich opportunity to really make a difference here in Southeast Texas, and that was really what drew both Nancy and me here. Well, the strengths I mentioned earlier, the rich mosaic of the campus and how we celebrate our differences. I had an opportunity to do a presentation on Patriot Day, and following the presentation I stepped down from the podium and I was visiting with a group of young men who were part of a fraternity, and they, as I was talking to one of them, I noticed that there was some gesturing going on beside me. As it turns out, there are a number of deaf members in the fraternity, and the fraternity has assumed the obligation of learning how to sign so that they can communicate with the members of their deaf members of their community. And that is something that's very characteristic of Lamar. This is a very receiving and warm campus environment. So that's the real strength of this campus and what has been reinforced as we've gone through. Weaknesses, of course, we struggle with resources here. There's a desperate need for our ability to be able to find ways to invest in key programming on campus to help us achieve what we want to achieve. Facilities could use some upgrading, clearly, all around campus. So those are the things that as you discover more about the campus, you learn more, and you walk around, you discover more of the opportunities for improving the campus environment. Well, every one of the colleges on campus has key constituents that they interact with that have an ability to make a difference for the college, whether it's fine arts and the relationships they have with the assortment of people that are supportive of the college, or whether it's education. We need to be doing a better job of affecting relationships with those key constituents, stakeholders, and finding ways to help plug them in a supportive capacity.
By the power invested in me and the Texas State University Board of Regents by the Education Code, and speaking on behalf of the Regents as the chairman, I charge you, Kenneth R. Evans, as the 15th president of Lamar University, with carrying out the duties and the responsibilities of your office. My colleagues and I entrust in you the stewardship of this magnificent and historic institution, and ask that you promise to uphold the laws of the Constitution of the great state of Texas and exercise due diligence in representing this university. We wish you success in achieving awesome goals as you continue to develop this institution into the finest university that it can be. I now invest in you full authority as president of Lamar University. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you Dr. Kenneth Evans, president of Lamar University.
Well, the responsibility of assuming a presidency is a big job. You mentioned earlier the different parts of what makes up the campus. And getting your arms around all those pieces and being able to affect positive change where it needs to take place, reinforcing areas that have core strengths, finding new opportunities for the university. It's a big job. And assembling the right kind of team to make that happen is obviously critical. Well, my dad actually helped convince me to go to college. I was not, frankly, convinced that's where I wanted to go. I had other interests, and I was young and full of myself and thought I had a pretty good idea of where I could go. And he played a pretty strong role in convincing me that a college education was a vital part of my next step. And I can't tell you how much I thank him for having made that happen and helping direct me in the direction that he took me.
Possibly for me, the answer that I looked forward to the most, or the question that I most wanted to ask, because people in Beaumont want to know this, is how are you going to be different to Jimmy Simmons, who's been here for quite a long time?
What I've inherited in the role I'm assuming is a legacy of 14 years that both Jimmy Simmons and Susan put into this institution, and they were experiencing amazing challenges. They had back-to-back hurricanes. They had all the issues surrounding the downturn of the oil and gas industry and the consequences of that and how that played out in southeast Texas. And they've kept the university they took a university that was struggling. They made it healthy. They obviously helped us weather the horrible consequences of the disasters of the weather scenarios that unfolded, and have left the university in tremendously great shape. We also pause today to celebrate the tenure and leadership of Jimmy Simmons. The marvelous partnership he also had in that role with his wife Susan, who I also saw. Jimmy and Susan are, both Nancy and I consider to be very close friends. I work with Jimmy when we're discussing key initiatives that he would have background on that's very useful for me in framing as we're going forward. The worst thing you can do is reinvent what you've done in the past. So relying on him to help navigate through some of the opportunities that are in front of us has really been valuable. Coming up after the break, I'll talk with you about how my wife and I have made Southeast Texas our home and give you my thoughts on the future of Lamar University. Stay tuned.
My lasting impression and what I got from doing the interview with Dr. Evans is that I didn't know much about him going in, but when I left, I felt that he was a good conversationalist, an interesting and likable person, and somebody who opens up to you. And I think that will make him a lot of friends in this area.
So we're moving in. It's pretty warm. We're getting a chance to learn more about the campus, which we spent many an evening wandering around the campus environment just to get a feel for the campus community. We had an opportunity to visit with a lot of folks that are supporters of Lamar at different events, so we got a good sense of what the Beaumont community thought and was looking for in a president. Frankly, it was an incredibly comfortable transition experience. You don't know exactly what to anticipate, but the truth of the matter is the community of Beaumont has received us very openly and very warmly. The Southeast Texan part of it, I actually did my first fishing trip. We went out into the Louisiana side of the Gulf area and did some flounder fishing. That was an amazingly successful trip, so that was exciting. We've obviously sampled the cuisine in Southeast Texas extensively. Need to be a little careful when we're ordering to make sure we don't get it too spicy, kind of ramping up my capability to handle some of the hot spices. We've obviously, you attend a lot of events, and we've attended a number of performances, both of the Beaumont Symphony as well as, of course, our students, and got an appreciation for the arts community here, particularly the music community. It's been a great transition. We've really enjoyed our time here.
When you're talking about this growth, which is both very positive but also rather scary when you say, how are we going to meet it? what are your thoughts? One of the times I think you've mentioned that you see Lamar becoming an institution of 25,000 students.
Could be. That's right.
What's your thought right now of how are we going to handle it? You say online. Do you have some other thoughts about how we might accomplish this? I mean, the facilities can only handle so many students.
Yeah, online's not going to be the answer to that kind of growth.
Yeah.
No way. It'll certainly accommodate a percentage of that growth. There's no question about that. Mm-hmm. But we'll be dealing with potentially looking at bricks and mortar activity, which is a common term used in the higher ed business of putting remote facilities in certain locations to provide better access to some
satellite
of the
campuses.
Exactly. For that student who's seeking access to education, may be in a permanent employment position and they're probably doing night classes or maybe accessing classes late in the afternoon. And then we need to increase the capacity on campus to be able to accommodate students as well. I came here with certainly an appreciation for the fact that the need for the provision of higher education product, just because of national statistics, is going to place tremendous pressure on all of higher ed to try to accommodate it. There's a tremendous growth coming at us in terms of graduates coming out of high school. How we accommodate that is going to be a really interesting challenge in light of the present infrastructure in higher ed. So for Lamar, we're going to have to grow. It's going to be an important part of what our future looks like. How we grow is what's being informed by a variety of interviews that the provost and I are doing with the different departments around campus, as well as students and staff, to get a sense of what the issues are and where there are opportunities to invest in the campus community.
For LU, this changing landscape has meant we will continue to mean embracing a number of state and local needs for energy education and research. While so much of the nation's refining takes place here in the Southeast Texas, our presence in the provision of skilled engineers, environmental scientists, consultants, and cutting-edge researchers makes us the go-to resource for the energy industry. But that's not all. We also educate educators by offering the largest online platform for masters and doctorates in education of any university in the state of Texas. Add to this our highly regarded programs in speech and hearing science and deaf studies. You saw my feeble attempt at trying to do that earlier. Business, nursing, and assorted other programs. One can readily see why Lamar is an attractive place for our students and faculty.
A lot of kids, when they graduate from high school, obviously look to the refining industry as an opportunity for that first job, and the dollars are great, and it makes sense to make that move for many of them. They may pursue a 2-year degree as they go along, or some type of a competency degree as they're proceeding along in their job environment. But at some point, they experience the ceilings that often happen in organizations in terms of the need for an undergraduate degree to move up in management. And we're here to help a lot of those kids as they're adults, young adults, as they're looking to go forward. We serve a community where there are a number of older students at Lamar who have found a path as they've graduated from high school and now are looking for ways to come back and secure an undergraduate degree and move on professionally, whether it's in education or healthcare or the oil and gas industry or law. Many of them end up finishing a degree here and going on to law school. So we are, I think, a great resource to help people on their journey. Well, as you know, online classes have played a big role at Lamar for some time. We're one of the first movers in that marketplace, actually. We do a great job, master's degree products in education in a variety of different areas, educational leadership and counseling. We're also offering a number of courses and curriculum opportunities in undergraduate areas, business, general studies. I see that as most likely probably a growing market. There's no way that it's likely to turn in the other direction. Access to education is increasingly going to become a big part of how we design what we do. The different colleges over the course of time will, of necessity, need to identify core areas of their competency that they think resonate with the various constituencies they serve. that then in turn provide funding to support faculty research, advance our educational product, hopefully underwrite some of our students that are seeking degrees that would likely place in those respective industries. That will be partnership with industry is increasingly becoming a vital part of what higher education is doing, and we need to do a better job of it. Well, certainly the nursing program has a very strong relationship with the healthcare industry here in Beaumont. Their students are placed in internships. They almost immediately end up getting placed in job opportunities here locally. There's clearly a very strong partnership between that program and local industry. Engineering has done the same thing with a variety of the constituents it serves. So it's not as though we're not doing it, it's just that we need to step it up. It's really hard for a young professional, really irrespective of the degree area that they pursue and ultimately the job that they obtain, to be functional, fully functional in their role without some understanding of multiple cultures and multiple ways of doing and living and attitudes about any one of a variety of different subjects. In the healthcare industry, as an illustration, there are certain types of spiritual religious orientations that have certain types of styles in which they interact with healthcare. The touching of people, for instance, in certain religious faiths are not permitted by cross-gender care providers. So understanding about what the global community means from the standpoint of impacting one of a variety of different professions we offer is important for our students. So getting students abroad is an important part of our mission, and we need to grow that component.
For LU, I would argue, for any institution, frankly, to embrace the reality of tomorrow, we must reinvent ourselves and find ways to continue to do so. Today may be one of the most exciting times to be serving in leadership positions in higher ed. I am honored and humbled to be asked by Chancellor McCall, the Board of Regents, and Lamar University community to be its president. It is a responsibility I assume with passion, respect for Lamar's legacy, excitement about the prospects for its future, and dedication to a vision of education and research that transforms lives.
I think our glass is no doubt half full. The opportunities that we've already explored in online education, the opportunities that as we reach out to markets, as we let Houston know what's available at Lamar, and when we let Dallas know what's available at Lamar, our response, the positive response we received in recruiting students has been exceptional. So we have tremendous opportunity to grow this campus and to serve not just Southeast Texas, but Texas at large. I would challenge the students to do the following. Own your university. And what I mean by own your university is take active involvement in student governance, take active involvement in student organizations, let your voice be heard. Do not be a passive consumer of your educational experience. It is not okay, just because you might be a commuting student, to not take ownership in what's going on here at Lamar. You are as much affected by your degree as would somebody who's a permanent resident here. That's what, I can tell you, I've seen it happen. That's what changes universities. So student ownership is a really important part, I think, of the message I would convey to the student body. Wanting to make the university better every day is something that each and every one of us need to do and should want to do if this university is going to accomplish what it can and should accomplish. That's a wrap for LUTV on Fox. For more information on Lamar University, visit lamar.edu. There you can find information about registration, news articles, a calendar of university events, and much more. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more shows from Lamar University Television on Fox.
We often hear it said that Lamar is like a family, and people are concerned when the head of the family leaves or goes away. And I think that I can say that the family will be all right, and the kids at Lamar University will be all right. That was my first impression of him.